couple of really cool things about this riff, and you're going to have a lot of fun playing and learning this, by the way. But there's a real easy way to approach riffs like this, and we're going to go through that in this lesson. So we're in the key of D minor. I'm in standard tuning, of course. And before we get started here, if you're part of the Jason Stallworth Guitar Academy, thank you, by the way. But you have the tabs and the backing tracks. You should have got the message, so make sure you log in and download those. Now, let me play the riff out in the open, and it's kind of almost got that power metal feel to it, right? So let me play this out in the open, then we'll break everything down. One thing you may notice is there's a constant all throughout this riff, and that's actually the single note riff that we're playing. So we play a power chord, single note riff. We go to another power chord, we go back to that same single note riff, and we keep repeating that as we hop through power chords until we get to the end. So before we get into all that though, let's build the foundation of this riff. And what I want to do is just play through the power chords and let those ring out, and that's going to establish our foundation for this entire thing. Again, in the key of D minor here, we're going to play a D power chord, we're going to go to a C, a B flat, we're playing the B flat down here, by the way, and that's because we've got this riff in this section here, so it's easier to play the B flat here as opposed to here. But anyway, D power chord, C power chord, B flat power chord, G power chord, A power chord. So it's like this. Pretty cool, right? And the reason I want to go through that part first, even though that's not the riff, but that's the foundation, is because if you start learning all the single notes, and that's fine, you can do that, we're going to do that next, but if you start out with kind of like the complex parts of it, but you don't have the foundation built, I mean, you're just playing a bunch of notes, right? But since we played the power chords, since we established the foundation, now we can build on top of that a lot easier because we know everything is based on that rhythm section there. So now that we got that down, let's go to the single note part. So we start out playing the D power chord. We're on the A and D strings 5 and 7, and we're going to play the D power chord. Then I'm going to palm mute. I'm almost going right into palm muting just that first note of the D power chord. After we do that, we go into the single note riff. So let's go through this part slow, and I'm going to throw up the tabs here so you can see the tabs while we go through this slow. Right after we do this riff, I go right into the C power chord, and we're going to continue that riff again after that. So it's like this. That's it. Again, same exact thing. We go from the D power chord, riff, single note riff, to the C power chord, then go back to that same single note riff. So why don't we just throw up the tabs for this piece? We'll start out with what we just learned, and then we'll add the C component to it. Now, what do? Well, we go to another power chord, and this time we're going to go to the B flat. So let's run through this together. I'll play it slow just like I just did, but we'll add the B flat this time. this is where it gets kind of easy. We go to a G power chord, which would technically be a G minor, and then we go to an A power chord after that. We let those two chords ring out a little bit, and we've got like a little short riff that we do at the end. So again, going back to our foundation here. Again, so we play through that, let those two chords ring out, and then at the very end of that, we've got a little riff. So let's just go over those notes just a few times here. And actually, we'll be ending on the D power chord, because either A, we're going to end it right there, or B, we're going to continue playing the riff. So that's how we'll end it. Now let's throw it all together and let's go through this a couple of times. It's time for our guitar chat, guys, but if you don't have my free Metal Riffs and Licks practice guide, the ultimate metal guitar practice guide, this literally helped thousands of my YouTube subscribers. I give it away to all of my subscribers as my way of saying thank you. Grab a copy of that. There's a link for Metal Riffs and Licks in the description of this video. Now, if you have my free guide and you've watched plenty of my videos and my style resonates with you, hey, consider joining the Jason Stallworth Guitar Academy, where you have access to all of my courses, all the materials, exclusive materials for my lessons just like this one. So link to that is in the description as well. What's the latest single note riff that you've written? What does that sound like? What key is that in? And what are you doing with that? Well, okay, take that really cool riff, play a power chord, okay, then go back to that riff again, then just go to a different power chord. Now come back to the riff again, go to a different power chord. See what that sounds like. Now, while you're doing this, and this is why I brought this up during the lesson, make sure that you establish the foundation. Make sure you establish some sort of like chord progression, even if you're not going to play the actual chords, even if you're playing single note riffs, right? But establish some sort of chord progression. And one of the cool ways to do that is do that to a drum track. And again, if you're a member of the Jason Stallworth Guitar Academy, of course, you've got the backing tracks to these. So that will make it really easy to kind of venture off the beaten path and play some different riffs and go to some different power chords and that sort of thing. But I want to encourage you to do that. Venture outside of that and see what you can come up with, because once you start mixing these techniques and the concepts that you learn in lessons like this, once you start mixing those together, it can really just like broaden your riff writing abilities. And I'll tell you this before we end here. I want you to always know that you're not just a guitar player. You're not just a metal guitar player. You're much more than that, actually. You are a creator. The fact that you sit down and play guitar, the fact that you just went through this lesson, and even if you learn half of it, even if you just learned a third of it, you're going to be able to take that third of it you learned, or whatever part you learned. Maybe you just learned the chord progression. Maybe you're not quite there yet to learn the single note riffs. You'll be there soon. But even if you just took the chord progression and use that concept, that progression, where can you take that? That means that you are also a creator, and that's just what we're meant to do, okay? So you're more than just a guitar player, you're a creator. So take these lessons, take these riffs, work on them, learn them, but quickly start to expand outside of that, and I want to see what you can come up with. So guys, I hope this lesson helped you. Again, this was like really fun to write. It's kind of like I guess it has like that darker power metal side to it, if that makes sense, you know. I was listening to some Blind Guardian in the gym, which I don't ever venture into that much, and I think it's in Ensiferum. Don't really listen to that a whole lot, but sometimes I'll hear it and I'm like, oh, I like this. Let me check this out some. So anyway, just a little backstory there. So work out to some Blind Guardian, and I know the folks in the band called Seven Kingdoms, and that's kind of what like inspired all this today. I was thinking about that because they have a show coming up in November in the Tampa area here. This is several months out. But anyway, sometimes, you know, you hear stuff and maybe you haven't heard that style in a while, but it'll inspire something. And well, that's kind of where this came from. This wasn't inspired by a specific song or specific riff, just the concept. You know, I talk about concepts a lot. So just the concept of this power metal theme, and this is just kind of what came out with my own style. So I hope this all makes sense to you. Leave me any comments below if you have questions or if you just want to add some cool stuff to it. Guys, as always, keep it metal and keep playing music. Standing on the edge of darkness.